Hi, I'm Mike Brandel from the Jones Graduate School of Business on the campus of Rice University. At their meeting at the end of September, the Federal Open Market Committee of the Federal Reserve decided to raise interest rates one more time. This is the third time they've raised interest rates in 2018. So what's going on? What is the Federal Open Market Committee looking at? Now, we oftentimes talk about the problems we have with macroeconomic data, the problems with GDP, the problems with the unemployment rate. Well, one of the things that the Fed is looking at is the Chicago Fed Activity Index. Now, this is an index that the Chicago Fed put together for about the last 15 years or so. It's made up of 85 different macroeconomic variables. And each one of those variables are weighted to get a good indicator of where the economy is right now. So this is not a leading economic indicator, nor is it a lagging economic indicator. It's what's called a coincidental indicator. So let's take a look at what exactly is this Chicago Activity Index really kind of telling us. It tells us where the economy is right now, much better than the GDP data. Here's a graph from the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. You can go out on their webpage and get all sorts of information about this index. And we see that it makes a major drop in 2009. Here's how to read the index. If the index is reading 0, that says the economy is just about right. It is growing at its long-run trend. If the index is above 0, then the economy is growing a bit too quickly. It's growing above trend. If it's below 0, then the economy is growing below trend. So we see what happens in 2008, 2009, well below the trend, well below 0. Yeah, that's the Great Recession. So let's take a look at what's been happening recently. Right, this is a monthly indicator, but you can't just look at the monthly data. It's best to kind of take a 3-month moving average of the indicator. And when we look at that, we see that since the beginning of 2018, the indicator is continually above that 0 level. So that's sending a message that the economy is growing above trend. And remember, what happens if the economy grows too quickly? If the economy grows too quickly, then inflation could rear its ugly head. And that arguably is why the Fed has gone so contractionary, why they've continued to raise rates in 2018, and most likely will continue to raise them throughout 2019, especially if this Chicago Activity Index remains above 0. But this is not without controversy. The inflation hawks at the Federal Reserve are arguing the Fed is in fact going too soft, that they need to raise rates even more quickly and even by much more than just these 0.25 percentage point increases. On the other hand, the inflation doves argue that these macroeconomic data are covering over structural problems that exist in the economy. And if you keep raising those interest rates, pop that asset bubble, you may in fact trigger the next great global economic recession. So who's right? The inflation hawks or the inflation doves? What should we really do with the Chicago Activity Index? I'll let you decide. Until next time, this is Mike Brandel from the Jones Graduate School of Business on the campus of Rice University. We'll see you then.